It's on YouTube. And the beautiful part of YouTube is that it is Google's little sister. It is searchable. People find things. And honestly, like, here's the super easy breakdown step by step of what I would do if I was first starting out.
Welcome to the Real Estate Reserve Podcast. I'm Jason Balin from Hard Money Bankers and my co-host Ian Horowitz from Equity Warehouse. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I promise we're going to put on a great show for you. You're going to be entertained. You're also going to learn something. We certainly appreciate all your support and your faith that you put into us. If you're a return viewer, follower, listener, watcher, viewer, thanks again for all your support. We couldn't certainly do it without you. In a second, we are going to bring in Marianne Hickman, who's a sales coach, best-selling author, world-class speaker, and life-changing breakthrough mentor. We had a chance to talk to her for a little bit before we hopped on here live. So definitely looking forward to this interview, Ian.
Yeah, always excited. It's always fun to bring people in and talk about what they're doing. I think people get a lot of value out of this because it's not directly about real estate, and it makes you think about more. I just recently finished 10X is greater than 2X. I'm reading Buy Back Your Time right now. And a lot of it's talking about being able to concentrate on those next level tasks. And Jason and I both have very large companies, but it's also good to get back to the basics. So I think this will be a really good fit. But guys, if you get any value out of this show, please feel free to share it. That's the best compliment we can give our guests. We don't care about the 5-star reviews and the thumbs ups and the subscribers. That stuff doesn't matter to us. It's about sharing the content and showing our appreciation for the guests that we bring in. And I know you guys will get that today. Real quick housekeeping. I'm on day 20 of the $50 million challenge going on over in the CREsyndicate.com. If you want to go check that out, I've been having some struggles the past few days, but I still got plenty of runway. Still got about 6 months to go. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can hit that $50 million goal. If you want to check it out, it's CRE-syndicate.com. Enough about us, and let's bring in Marianne Hickman.
Hey, Marianne, how are you?
What's up, guys? Doing great. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm super curious about this challenge, Eden, that you're working on. Like, that sounds cool.
Dude,
leak it, Ian, leak it.
You know what happened was I did a podcast with a buddy of mine, and he's doing $1 million challenge for wholesaling. And I was like, dude, that's so cool. I've been sucked into his content. I'm like, Stratton, it's so good. And then one day I was like, I need to do more deals because we're looking at deals right now. And I'm like, you know what? Can I buy $50 million of real estate, which is basically like 2/3 of our current portfolio? I'm like, can I do that by the end of this year? And I said, screw it. I just started posting about it, and people have been enjoying it. So we'll see what happens.
That's awesome. I love challenges. I love it to grow my audience, and I love it just for myself to get better at stuff. That's sick, dude.
Yeah, well, you need to put goals up there and try them out. So I guess for the audience, you just want to tell people who you are and where you're from and what you do.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm happy to jump in. Jason, you look like you're about to jump in.
No, go ahead.
Sweet. Well, guys, my name is Marianne Hickman. I am a speaker, trainer, of course, sales coaches. That's definitely a part of it. But my biggest goal, I have this crazy, audacious goal. Maybe I can call it a challenge too. I want to make my clients get on 1 million stages and have them make $1 billion doing it. And what's so cool about that is that it doesn't have to be industry specific. It just requires that you're willing to get on stage, whether it's a physical stage or a digital stage. And, I've got people that are in the blue collar construction industry that are doing this. I've got real estate professionals that are doing this. I've got people with the healing arts. They're doing this. It's not industry specific. It is regardless of the industry you're in. If you want to grow, go from 2X to 10X, like you were saying, Ian, the stage is the way to do it.
Okay. So go ahead, Jay. I know. Go ahead.
That's what happens when you put, 2, now probably 3 dominant people on a show together. They all want to jump in and talk as quick as possible. So, so when did you believe, when did you kind of mentally believe that being on stage, being in front of audience was the right way to go in order? Because obviously that seems to be like your highest level task of your highest level goal of, hey, listen, I could do direct marketing to grow clients. I could go do this. I could go do that. But I'm guessing that you firmly believe that if you can jump on stage, either in person or digital stage, that you can just, touch so many more people all at once in whatever that allocated time is. Like when did that kind of first hit you? It was like, hey, this is really the direction that, I need to go in order to impact the most people.
I think it was when I was in an audience at one of the events that I was invited to. So I've been, you could call me a seminar junkie just because I love to sit in the audience and look at the backstage stuff and the front stage stuff. But I was in my early 20s, and I was in this room at the Salt Palace, downtown Salt Lake. There was probably 1,200 people in the room, and I was like, holy crap. I'm sitting on the back row in here. There's hundreds and thousands of people sitting in front of me, and there's one dude on stage, and he's talking for an hour. And if he's talking for an hour and there's 1,200 people in the room, that's 1,200 hours worth of impact. And I thought, "Gall, that's a big deal." And I started watching what was going on. And like I said, I would watch with backstage goggles and front stage goggles. I'd be like, "Yeah, give me the content." But also, does he have his board right there, his big sticky note thing, and why does he have this table over here, and what's going on backstage, and what's going on with the energy of the room, and why is he putting his call to action this way? And as I started to go to different seminars, I saw these patterns, and I thought, okay, now the call to action is coming, and here's where they're converting. I just went to a stage, and I haven't stopped, by the way. I still am a seminar junkie. I just went to a stage. You probably heard of it. It's the Limitless Arena. It is the mecca of public speakers. And I looked at that, and Keaton is a wonderful human being. I love what he does. And I watched the call to action happen this year. And I thought, shoot, they just made, based on what I saw, they just made either, $2 million. I mean, it was $4 million in the event, or $500,000 in monthly recurring revenue based on the conversions of the room. And I was like, yep, there it is again. There's something to this.
Oh yeah. No, we spent some time doing some Russell Brunson funnel hacking live seminars, and watching that man sell from stage, and the table rush and everything else that happens is insanely impressive. But how can someone take that same thing, and we live in a more digital world now. When you're talking stage, are we still talking tactile stage? Because people are scared shitless of that, and then again, people are still scared shitless just to get on here. What is the stage nowadays, and how can they create that call of action if it is digitally?
So this is a really cool layout, because stages physically, you're right, there's perception not only that it's scary, but that it's super difficult. And I will say physical stages are more difficult to achieve than digital stages, but that does increase your conversion, not only because the playing field is narrowed for speakers who are willing to do it, but it takes more time, energy, and effort for an audience to commit to showing up to something physically than digitally. So you have a higher buy-in rate. But there are really 4 different kinds of stages. And this is something that Pete Vargas also teaches over at 10X. So there's basically a digital stage that's yours, that you own. So your podcast, your Instagram, your social. There's a physical stage that you own, which you can put on an event either in your home or at a library or whatever event you're hosting. And then there's other people's versions of the same thing, other people's digital stage. So right now I'm on your digital stage, right? And then there's other people's physical stages. Like if you're speaking on Keaton's stage, I'm a guest on his. So between those 4, my favorite for beginners is your own digital stage, because that's as simple as going live, and it's as easy to do as going live. And now you're talking to your audience, so you have the highest chances of conversion. And that could be something as crazy simple as an Instagram reel that has a call to action at the end. Boom, you're on a digital stage. It's less than 60 seconds. You can convert your audience. The conversions are low, but it was a low effort stage as well.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. And I mean, so I guess my challenge is like, let's go to that first. Making content almost. Jay's very good. You were jammed up. I was saying you've always been good about making content, like very early on. Like how early did you guys start making content? I mean, we're talking 2008, right?
What are you asking me? Sorry, one of us first.
No, you were frozen. I was saying, Jay.
Oh, got it. You're asking.
I'm trying to get back to like the early days of like.
So
I was scared, and
I started making content in 2008. I think YouTube was 2 or 3 years in, and we had a crappy camera, and we were in in our 20s, and weren't like, it wasn't like, oh hey, you're techie, like you're in your 20s. Like it's not like it is now. Yeah, and we created cameras, and we took, we created videos, and we took the memory chip out of the camera, and then we put it in a computer, and then we uploaded to YouTube. And that was, I mean, this is way, pre social media and stuff like that. But yes, if that's what your question was, that's when we started, because we saw the value of it. It was, instead of trying to call every single person individually or meet with every single person individually or talk to everybody individually, it's like, hey, let's post these videos and try to get eyeballs. And you could probably attest to this, Marianne, that it's very discouraging at the beginning when you do like an Instagram post or reel or a YouTube video and it gets like 8 views. And like, in my mind, from day one, to overcome the discouragement, we've always said, well, every eyeball counts, because guess what? If I get 10 views on a video, okay, well, I'm gonna do 100 videos, and then I'm gonna do 100 times 10, and until those video views continue to increase and increase and increase, and it's evergreen as well. It just lasts. It's out there forever.
It's so true. Yeah, and that, I think that people even that have come to the point where they feel like they've made it in a certain way as far as their views, their audience, or their follower size or whatever. If you hop on live and nobody's there, that can still punch you in the gut and be like, why am I even doing this? Right? That okay, there's 2 viewers, but here's my overcoming of that is, if you're hopping online and you don't think your viewer count is as good as it should be, I think about what would happen live. If I have 8 people that hop on my live and I feel discouraged by that, how would I feel if those same 8 people came to my front door, sat down in my living room and looked at me? Would I put on a discouraged energy and be like, oh, there's only 8 of you here? No, wait, that'd be insulting to them. They would not vibe with that. They'd probably want to leave. And conversely, like, oh, I only have 100 views. What if 100 people came to your house? How would you feel? That's a big deal.
Yeah, that'd be more overwhelming. 100 people at my house and having 100 people online. But we live in. Go ahead.
Yeah, but 10 people or 100 people, like, great. You only had to do it once, and it lasts forever. And I think that's the real benefit that, I think is hard for people to understand, because I mean, most of the stuff that Ian and I do are in the real estate space. And obviously there's mentors and there's gurus and there's teachers and coaches in the real estate space. And I think that a lot of the real estate investors think, oh, well, they're the only ones that need to be doing content. It's like, that's not true. Like, how many, how many sellers do you need to meet with, or how many of this or that? Like, you need to have a public image and a public brand. You don't think that you're going to try to raise money for a private investor that wants to like lend you $100,000, that they're not going to Google you and learn everything about you. And if you're on there and you're an expert, if you're portrayed as an expert of like, oh wait, Jason was here speaking at this event, or Jason's doing this reel of like 4 ways to lose money or 4 ways to make money, like they're look at that. There's so many, and I agree with you. There's so many different kind of different directions that content can be viewed as.
Oh, totally. It doesn't matter the industry. Even within real estate, there's probably 20, 30 different verticals within real estate alone, whether you're a broker, whether you're an investor, whether you're a real estate agent, it doesn't matter. If you have this public image where people can learn about you, they know, like, and trust you. It's like you were saying earlier, it's another touch. And we know that they need more touches now than ever in order to create that call to action where they actually work with you. And if you become the icon, the recognized figurehead for that niche or niche, I've been grilled on how to say it. I don't even know anymore.
Niche or niche.
Right? One of those. If you're the
Same
recognized guy, I mean, that's building your rapport, it's building your trust, increasing your customer base. And who doesn't want more customers?
Yeah, and I tell you what. So, and basically, what I was getting at, asking Jason earlier, starting early on, is he's always been pushing me like, "Hey, we need to do a podcast or come do this video." And I'm like, no, dude, like I'm good, because me and my business partner, we were both firemen for the city of Baltimore, and we were very humble. You just keep your eyes and ears open and your mouth shut. There's 2 and 1 for a reason, right? So, and we wouldn't talk about it. But Jason's like, "No, you got to talk about it." But the more you talk about it, the more credibility just comes of it. Brokers bring you deals. Capital investors start reaching out. People are like, oh, hey, what are you doing here? I am still floored today when people are like, oh, I listened to your podcast, or I watched all your videos, and like, you're almost like a superstar. Like, you're like, wait, what? Like, dude, I'm just a regular dude just posting content, going through I don't even want to say going through the motions. This isn't our primary business, but it builds credibility for our primary businesses. So what would you say the best first thing someone could do? I don't care if you're seasoned or brand new. Like, where do you think they should start doing the content? I know you said on their own digital channel, but like, what should they talk about, I guess, right?
So I was chatting with Andy Elliott in a group that I'm a part of. He's like the all-star of sales, right? And he's such a cool dude. And he put it really simply. And I'm just going to share what I learned from him that has worked so well. And you mentioned it already. It's where you started. It's on YouTube. And the beautiful part of YouTube is that it is Google's little sister. It is searchable. People find things. And honestly, like here's the super easy breakdown step by step of what I would do if I was first starting out. First thing I would do is go to Google and look at the questions that people are asking in my niche. What blank real estate or whatever in swimming, or if I'm an author or whatever is relevant to my niche, start typing in questions. And then what Google's going to do is it's going to scroll down and it's going to show you recommended questions, and it's going to show you autocomplete questions. Guess what? Those are the titles of your YouTube videos. Yep. When you have those titles of your YouTube videos and people are Googling that, now you come up as the search answer to those videos. And if you can reproduce videos with answers to those questions with those as your video titles, now you're going to become bumped up and recommended by Google. And like Jason was saying, those are evergreen. Those are on YouTube forever. I had a YouTube channel that I started probably about 8 years ago. I lost access to it for 5 years, just barely got it back. And my stuff is still going strong to the point where like it's outdated and I need to remake all of this content. But if you're just starting, throw a camera up. It doesn't have to be fancy. You can just start with your phone if you want, go selfie style, and just answer the questions. And then watch as the comments come in. You might have 10 at the first one, 10 viewers or whatever. But like you said, it's going to grow. And now your content's out there forever and you're becoming the recognized face in your industry. That's the very first thing I would do.
And here's the thing. And I mean, we kind of just learn this along the way as we set up social media profiles and YouTube pages and websites. But like, not that websites are outdated, because they're not, but like all of these are your website. They're all sources, right? And there's like a term, an old internet marketing term, where like the goal of your business is to take over the block, where in essence somebody Googles, you know, like in our world, the main term's hard money lenders, right? Like that's a popular keyword. And, you know, I'm not going to take over the block for a term like that, but it's certainly if they Google our company name, which is Hard Money Bankers, you know, I want my website to come up. I want my YouTube channel to come up. I want my Facebook page to come up, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, everything. Google my business. Like that's kind of the goal. So then all of a sudden, when, you know, somebody's in a local market that says, you know, who buys houses in Maryland, or who buys houses in Columbia, Maryland, or you narrow it down, all of a sudden you're up there. And, you know, we've all got stuck in that, you know, we've all got, you know, stuck, you know, scrolling through Instagram reels or YouTube videos endlessly because we found something we were interested in. And like, ultimately that's the goal. So, you know, I mean, listen, we're all self-conscious about, like, none of us have as many views as we want. Like that's a safe assessment. We don't have as many views as we want. And as hard as we work on some of these content pieces, we certainly don't have as much, you know, work. I mean, going viral is just challenging, and the videos that you want to go viral won't go viral, and vice versa.
Yeah,
like, that's
totally.
just what happens. So like, I definitely agree with you and encourage everybody, like, start with somewhere and then work your way up. And, you know, Gary Vee talks about that as well in a good way of who cares? Like, don't like stop, you know, especially for like younger kids who's like, oh man, you got like 3,000, you know, views on that reel. And like, that's like their measuring contest.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, who cares? Like, just keep putting out good quality content and your right followers will find you. And I agree. I think it's for every industry.
Yeah, and that's totally true. But here's the caveat on that. Like you were saying at the beginning of the show, we don't care about the like count, the follower count, the play count, whatever it is. And I completely agree insofar is that number is absolutely useless if you're not converting. If you want your business to grow, likes won't pay you. Plays won't pay you. Maybe they'll pay you a few cents on YouTube, you know, but that's not going to sustain a business. Those don't pay you. So if you're not converting your audience into leads and those leads then into customers, I don't care if you have $1 million or $1 million view reel. I've had one, it had nothing to do with my business. Did it make me money? No, because at the time I wasn't converting. So you've got to be able to convert those people.
Yeah, that's very smart. And that's why the call to action at the beginning of this, let's break it down, right? Because we're talking marketing, is to share it, because Jason and I are looking for continued credibility, and we'll convert you later somewhere in one of our funnels, as salesy as it sounds. But, You're going to go borrow money from Jason, or you're going to end up joining maybe one of his masterminds or buying one of his courses. Same thing over here. You're going to end up co-investing with us, bringing us a deal, or joining our mastermind. But somewhere in there, I don't need that direct sale from here. And I think that's where a lot of people get discouraged from doing content because they feel like they need the call to action rather than just sharing their experiences. And honestly, this is the best therapy that Jason and I get. This whole show started because it was, hey, we talk about this stuff every single day, so let's share it with the world.
Yeah.
And there is no direct sale. And I think if people recognize it, it's just share your experience and other people will relate to you, and you will figure out how to monetize it later.
So yeah. So let's take that kind of down to the next level. So let's say, whatever, insert industry here, right? Start a YouTube channel, start doing content related to the industry. Like, what's the next step? Like, is the goal to, sell them the product or service? Is the goal to, hey, this is like very broad credibility. Let me narrow it down to what they're more interested in and give them more content. Like, how do you, like, usually, like, in general, if you're, if you're helping people create their digital stage, is it do a content piece, make money, or is there steps in between that?
Oh, 100% there's steps. And I think Ian brings up a really good point. There's need to be multiple touches and a nurturing of your audience before any sale can happen, because no one wakes up and first thing in the morning and say, oh, I hope someone pitches me today. I hope I run into a call to action today. Nobody wants that. Everyone wants their problem solved, right? Like, that's what they're there for. So these modes that I teach people to deliver content in, first of all, it's give it away for free, right? I love to give everything. I'll show you all day long for free. If you were to watch every single one of my YouTube videos, then you'd figure it out and you don't even need me anymore. That's great, but that's not going to happen. People need things condensed because they're not just watching my YouTube videos all day. They're watching mine, and they're watching yours, and they're watching somebody else's, and they're absorbing a billion pieces of content on Instagram and Pinterest and everywhere. And it's not streamlined and it's not focused. So they're not going to get traction in any one of them. So the first step is to post, get over the hurdle of stage fright, which basically means get over yourself and post. Right. And then once you do that, you're going to listen to your audience. What are they saying? What are their replies? What are their comments? My rule of thumb is that if you have an audience ask a question more than twice, now it becomes a course, because they're telling you what the market demand is, and they're telling you how they want you to collapse their time and solve this problem. So I've got, for example, when I teach people to write ebooks, the ebooks are the thing that converts the audience into leads, because it's a way to add value to the audience for free. And now I'm capturing emails. My students are like, okay, you've done this so well. How do I do this? I've been asked that question 12 times. And I'm like, okay, I need to create a $29 simple, easy course where I'm showing people how I did it. I recorded all the sessions where I made ebooks for people. And now I can sell that course for $29, super easy. And people can use that. So yes, I'm producing content, but I'm also listening to what the audience is saying. When I first started launching my own business, I thought that people wanted sales because I was an expert in that. And I thought, oh, everyone needs this. But my audience was saying these things like, can you teach me how to show up on stage? And so I pivoted my entire business model to answer the market demand, because it's such a pain in the butt. And you probably know this feeling when you produce and you produce and you produce and nobody wants it. It's not catching. It's because you're delivering what you're good at, but not what they need.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Go ahead, Ian, and then I can add something.
I was just gonna say, it's like that's where the deflation comes in, because you're not paying attention to what the market wants. They're voting with their dollars. They're voting with their voices. Pay attention to that, and you'll be able to deliver on that.
Yeah, and I remember when I was in Russell Brunson's mastermind group years ago, one of the things that he talked about that really hit home, and whenever we kind of anything related to our business, I kind of think of it like this. And I was jotting down some notes as you were talking. But something, related to like step one is teaching them how to do it. Right. Mm-hmm. So like, and it's free. And in essence, the same thing, all of these things I'm about to say are pretty much the same. It's just what level of involvement they want your help in. Right. Exactly. So if I jump on and I do a podcast, right? Because we got a lot of traffic from a podcast, one of the podcasts that I do, into a mastermind group. And it's essence like, teach them exactly how to do it, right? And it's free. And go do it or don't do it. The next step is do you want me to help you do it?
Exactly.
And if you want me to help you do it, it's, in a group setting, probably digital. It's going to be a little bit of extra money. It's not free anymore, but I'll help them do it. And the next step is do it for them. And that's
Exactly.
that's an extremely high end. And I don't know if that's the exact way that he taught it or that's the way that you have it in your brain as well and describe it. But that's kind of just what I jotted down. And I'm trying to think about that kind of like, think about it like this. Let's say I'm trying to just use some random industry I don't know anything about off the cuff right now. But let's just say, a pool, you install pools, right? Like I'm going to show you free videos of like, hey, I'm going to teach you how you can make your own pool in your own backyard. And the next step would be like, hey, I'll help you build a pool in your backyard. And the next one is like, just pay our company. We'll just do the damn thing. And you can just sit on the couch and a few months later, you'll have a pool. So I think if the audience watching or listening right now, I think if you can relate your business to that, I think that goes a long way. Because I remember Russell Brunson joking about this. He was like, everything that you just paid me $25,000 to do for you, it's all right here.
Yep.
I have a book, a free plus shipping book. And then I have a course, which is the same information as the book, but it's, formulated differently. And then there's our coaching program and our mastermind group. And it's all the stuff that's in the book that's teaching you how to do it. It's just me holding your hand. And I think that's what a lot of people need, including myself. And it's very worth their while. So I'm guessing your kind of, call it value ladder funnel, is probably similar to that. And let's be honest, most people, ambitious people and successful people, they rather just pay somebody who's an expert to just help them do it anyways, instead of learning and fumbling through it. I certainly do.
No, I 100% agree. When I teach funnel building, and you're right, this is industry wide, whether you're building pools, teaching swimming lessons, putting sprinklers in, it doesn't matter. I'm going to show you how to do it. That's my content. And guys, when I learned this principle, this made my content creation so much easier. I'm like, you mean I can just take the screenshots from my course and put them on social and it's just the same thing? Whoa, that's awesome. That's so easy. Teach you for free, done with you is a price, done for you is a bigger price. And essentially what people are buying is the collapsing of time. And they're using your time to do that. So when I buy more of my mentor's time, which is the only non-renewable resource there is, then I pay a higher price, but it shortens my timeline. And that's when I can trade that all day long.
What is on your end, like what's your highest ticket like offer, most value you can bring to a client? So let's just say there's a client that's like, hey, I get this and like I understand the value of going online and I don't have anything online yet. Like I want a digital stage and I agree with the value of the digital stage.
Yeah.
Like, what do you recommend, that somebody can help? I'm a busy CEO. I got lots of employees and companies and things like that. And it's like, and I'm older and I'm not going to set up YouTube myself. It's just not going to happen. Like, what do you recommend to like that highest level person that has, real money that they're willing to put into something like this?
Well, it really depends on what they do and if what they want is in my wheelhouse. A lot of times when they say, I want you to start a YouTube channel for me, I'm going to refer them out because
Sure.
I don't do the recordings. I don't set up your cameras. I don't buy your equipment for you. I'm going to say go to this studio and do that. But I'm going to teach you how to show up on camera and you're going to spend time with me doing that. So when people say, hey, can you help me? I'm going to say, yes, but only if you want to master the stage. If you pay me 30 grand, which is my highest offer, I'm going to mentor with you 1 week once a week, every week throughout the entire year. And I'm going to teach you about your body language. I'm going to teach you about your tonality. I'm going to teach you about your call to action. I'm going to walk you through and make sure your funnels are in place. But the minute you want me to do something that's outside my wheelhouse, I'm going to refer you to a buddy of mine and say, nope, that's not what I do. Go to him.
Got it. Yeah, makes sense. And I think that's, what, folks want and need. It's the highest level activity, right? One of the highest level activities we can all do is being on stage digitally or in person. And the other stuff, like related to what Ian was talking about, book Who Not How, like you're the who on the highest level stuff, right? But everything below that can be the who that someone else can find. It's like, stop. You don't need to be setting up your own YouTube channel. Just put some money and let somebody else do that for you. Let me teach you the highest level stuff. So when you do have a YouTube channel, I can help you create really, really good content for it that will help you get invited into, bigger rooms with good speakers to help you sell your $100,000 product you sell or whatever it is.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's exactly it. And whoever's, knocking on the door, that you got to get really clear on what you want to. Because if you want to be on stage, then great, I'm your girl. But if you want a thriving business and you don't want to be on stage and you don't want to have businesses to these stages to grow your business, I'm going to refer you to someone that can help you with what you want, right? So if what you want you're unclear on, then you're not going to find the right mentor and you're not going to get traction.
Let me ask one more question before we ask our wrap-up question. What happens if, because this is a real thing.
Let's do it.
And it's not necessarily for me and Ian, but there is a lot of people that this category falls into. What happens if you're an introvert and like you're just scared and like you're like, I would like to do this, but I'm scared, or like I don't know if I can do this type of thing. And I mean, I know my reason, which I can share after, like what my rebut to them is, but I'm just curious on yours. Like if someone comes to you and says, hey, like I'm serious about this and I want to do it and I'll spend, can you please help me? But like, I'm legit scared and I'm an introvert and this is very hard for me to do. I'm not outgoing and bubbly and, and it's just not, this is very outside my comfort zone.
Yeah, as it should be, right? Here's what I would say, speaking as a recovered introvert, and I won't say that, people hear me say that and they're like, oh, does that mean you think introverts are bad? No, I really recharge by myself, right? That's when I plug in and my batteries get full. It's when I'm like alone in a cabin in the mountains and there's not another heartbeat for 100 miles, except for my husband who might be in the next room or whatever, right? Introverts have just as much skill on stage as those that are naturally extroverted. And you might even say the trained introvert who spent time and energy honing in the talent and putting in the work beats talent every time. Work beats talent every time. So if the stage is scary, when people tell me this, I'm looking for, and I've got my radar out for what I call limiting beliefs. I'm sure you've heard of this stuff if you've spent any time in the mentoring space. It's crazy. When I work together with people get one-on-one with me, they think they're going to get the answers to, getting their ebook written and showing up on stage in body language. And yes, that happens. But the reason you're not already good at it is because there is some neurolinguistic programming in your brain that doesn't serve you. We spend so much time in our one-on-ones not even talking about the how, but the inner who. Who's in your brain? Who's talking to you? What's the negative voice that you're taking advice from that's already starting to steal your future? And how do we slay it? How do we take out the sword and cut its head off so that those negative thoughts are not sabotaging your wealth, your business, your family, your health, everything?
Yeah. And I believe that if you're talking about something that you really care about and you really believe in your business and you're up there talking about it, everything goes away. If you told me to get up there and talk about writing an English paper, I wouldn't get up there. Like, this is dumb. I'm out. Like, I'll become the introvert, which is really hard, right? But if you want to get up there and talk about commercial real estate and how to create a financial freedom and, break your W-2, I'll get up there and I'll be your dude. People are like, I'm ready to run through a brick wall when you're done. I'm like, yeah, because we're passionate about it, right? So I think everybody can be an introvert. And I see the video down in the window. I cannot wait. But everybody's an introvert when they're talking about something they're not comfortable about. Go ahead, Jay. Pull this one up. It's a classic.
Let me just pull this up because this was one of the first videos that I ever did 14 years ago.
Yes.
And you won't be able to really see the video or, hear it or see it.
The video is yellow because it's so old.
Yeah. I mean, this is a regular, it didn't matter. We just did it. That was 14 years ago. And because I'm going to give you what I believe my answer is here in a second, but, hold on one sec. Let me just go back to that one. So I got a camera higher than me. I'm staring somewhere. I don't even know what I'm doing. I mean, look at the size printer that's in the background because we didn't even.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
Point being is like you just start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Like you start somewhere and you're scared, and you just, you start talking, you start doing it, you start doing everything. I mean, I know Ian and I get a lot of compliments on our videos and I'm very humble about it because I'm like, you really like that? And like Ian started the show with, and it's like, because you just did it. It's just reps. You do thousands of them. And it just makes it easier. I mean, if you're an expert in your trade of selling pools, you can be an expert doing this. It's the same thing. So I agree with what you're saying. You start somewhere, you get your reps in and you just do it. And what's the worst case scenario that happens? You get laughed off stage. You don't get views. Like, whip-de-doo. You just stand there and do it. Let me give you, even though I've kind of hijacked this interview a little bit, let me give you one other.
This is so cool. I love seeing old stuff. Like, those that aren't watching this on video, go find the video of it, because that clip was amazing.
Well, when my business partner Chris and I do like some mentoring and consulting, we say, and they're like, yeah, I'm not sure what to talk about in these videos. I'm like, look at this crap. It's not gonna be any worse than this. And just copy what the videos already did. Just copy the titles and the topics and just do so. And just because this show is geared towards a lot of our audience is real estate investors and business owners, I'll give somebody one additional tip that I think you can probably attest to this, of the value of speaking from stage and being the expert, because this is something that we did firsthand that really, really, really helped skyrocket our business. And this could be for any type of business. Like, we used to go to these meetup groups all the time, right? And meet a lot of people. They weren't called meetup groups years ago. For real estate, they're called like RIA groups or something like that. But every industry has your own group, right? Oh, yeah. And there'd be 100 people in the room, and I'd go out and I'd have 100 business cards, and I have to meet and talk to 100 people, which is extremely hard to do, right? And I'd spend an hour or 2 hours, and I meet 100 people, and I get a business card, and I put them in my CRM, and I'd email them. It's like, oh man, I'm exhausted for doing that, right? So that was like level one. Level two is, well, maybe I could just talk to the event host and speak at these events. So instead of me having to go talk to 100 people, I can talk to the group, and those 100 people will know me, and they'll either come up to me, or I'll give them something of value, of free, and then they'll put in their email address, and I'll have 100 people. So like that was level two. And I think that like normal transition, makes sense logically. I just don't know if people actually execute on that. And then level three was, you know what, let's just start our own freaking meetup group. Yep. And then we run the show, and everyone comes to you. You're the expert. It's your show. You do it the way you want to do it. And I think that's really relevant. And I can challenge somebody to have a level 4 where the show exists without even you in it. And you're still the brand. You don't have to show up. But regardless, like, let's just stay on level 3. And I think that's what a lot of this has to do with. Like, we went from, hey, every day I had, not every day, every week, every month I had to go meet 100 people and hand them out business cards, to, okay, well, now there's 7,500 people in this group, and I have all their contact information, and they know who I am, and it makes it easy. So I don't think it matters what industry you're in. I think that's very, very relevant, and the value of doing that. It's like you're trying to work a lot harder, just work a little bit smarter, and create this this digital platform, or this this platform that Marianne's been talking about, and like it goes a long way, and you can shortcut it by potentially communicating with her.
Oh yeah, when I spent a decade on somebody else's stage. I was their MC, I was their sales director, and they were in real estate. And we did events that brought in, hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars. We brought in millions of dollars in sales every single year, and it was all real estate centric. And a lot of the times the event, here's what's crazy, is that the live event wasn't always the highest ROI as far as dollars per head that came through the door. Sometimes we slayed it, sometimes we didn't. But a lot of times those events were the fulfillment piece for the people that spent 4 or 5 figures, on the phone with the sales team. And so, yeah, those of you that are in real estate, yes, it works in real estate. It works whether your customers are the ones buying houses. It works whether or not you're running a brokerage. It doesn't matter who your audience is, but getting on stage digitally, getting on stage in the room, I mean, if you want to grow your business, become the recognized expert, I can't think of a better way.
Yeah, no, 100%. And guys, remember, it's educate, educate, educate. Don't sell. Maybe every once in a while you can, but mostly educate. With that being said, Marianne, this has been really informative. It was so informative. You got Jason to talk, which sometimes doesn't happen, but he gets on. He loves marketing, so yes, you can tell. No, sometimes like, yeah. But other times, no, I know he loves marketing, so it's a good one. So we're all I personalities. All 3 of us would talk probably for 6 hours if we could. But enough of that. Let's transition here. What's one book or podcast that you think is like really informative, or everybody should go out and read or listen to, or something that's been top of mind for you?
Oh, I love that you asked that. I'm in the middle of reading Jimmy Rex's book right now. You guys probably know him. He's in the real estate world. He just published a book called B1. And it's all about how you are being the man. Specifically, he's speaking to men, but I'm getting a lot of value out of the book as a woman because I just changed the pronoun or whatever. But it's becoming the person that you want to be. One of my favorite parts of this book is in the first 30 pages, actually, when he's talking about hiking Mount Kilimanjaro, and one of the gentlemen on his hike is one-legged. And there was another member, they were probably a few days out from the summit. Another member of the group, a Marine or a former Marine, said, now, which one of you guys thinks one of us isn't going to make it to the top? And everyone just kind of looked at them like, why would you say that? We're all going to the top. It turns out that guy who asked the question bailed within 24 to 48 hours. And the guy with one leg was, and I hate this pun, but it's the first one that came to mind. He was literally on his last leg. He had a war injury, and this injury went beyond the amputation. It went to erode his sense of self so much to the point where his life was on the line in terms of suicide, and he didn't have anything left to live for. And the coach for that man was also on this hike, and he confided in Jimmy. He said, if this guy doesn't make it to the top, I don't think he's going to emotionally lock or anchor anything in that's going to make him live. And so Jimmy and him and the rest of the guys made a pact and said, I don't care if we have to push, pull, or drag or carry you to the top. You're getting there, because it was a life-saving commitment. And what I took from that book, and I'm getting goosebumps now, like, what are we willing to put our life on the line for? And if we're not willing to put our life on the line for it, should we even be spending our time doing it? And that's why I say, first people at, what do? I'm a mother first. I've got 6 children that I put my most valuable time in. My business fills in the cracks, and it does it well, and it supports my family, but I don't spend my time doing it unless I'm willing to die on the hill for it.
Yeah, no, it's some powerful stuff, man. Some powerful stuff. So we'll get that book in the show notes. Marianne, it's been absolutely awesome, guys. If you're getting value out of this, please share it. Where can people find you on the internet? They want to learn more about what you do and see how you can help them get on stage.
Yeah. I am all over Instagram and YouTube. I've made my handle the same everywhere. It's just Marianne_Hickman. You can find me there. You can check out my website. My favorite way, though, is to just interact with people on social media. So let's hang out. I respond to all of my comments. I respond to all of my DMs. I don't have a bot that does that. I used to. It sucked. I hated it. So, let's hang out online and keep the conversation going.
Yep. Hell yeah. Well, we look forward to it. Hopefully we see you out on the stage somewhere. And guys, we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Reserve Podcast. Do us a favor and like, comment, and share our broadcast. It helps the algorithm and helps us spread the word too. Till next time, thank you for tuning in.